My name is Khan Muntar. I am student of University of Bradfordshire. Today my topic is collective bargain. The common law had recognized relation between individual as master and servant. It did not recognize collective bargaining or anybody that is entitled to represent the body of workmen in negotiation relating to employment or the terms of employment with the conduct of labor of any person in the common law. If a number of employees in a concert or combination withdraw their labor and decide not to work, it will amount to the breach of the contract, which was actionable in common law. The collective bargain was first used by the Bacteria Webb, a founder of the field of industrial relation in Britain. Collective bargain, writes Heberson, explain collective bargain as a process of accommodation between two institutions which have both common and conflicting interests. Its aim is not to seek industrial peace at any price. Constructive bargain should seek to promote the attainment of commonly held goals of a free society. The International Labour Organization states that collective bargain is a fundamental right available to all the workers. This means that all the employees are entitled to present their grievances to their employers and to be able to negotiate them. According to ILO, collective bargain help to reduce inequalities in the workplace while providing workers with the labor protection. Collective bargain is process of negotiating with the trade union in relation to an employee's wages, other terms of employment. Collective bargain agreement CBA is the name of any agreement that comes out of a negotiation with the union. The purpose of CBA is to establish specific terms for your employees. This could be in relation to anything in your employees' contracts. It formally includes pay rate, holiday entitlement, health and safety. As an employer, you can choose not to recognize the union to avoid negotiation, but employees can apply for statutory recognition through the Central Arbitration Committee. If an employer does reach to CBA with a union, they need to bear in mind that in certain circumstances, one of these agreements can affect individual not to represent by the union. There is no legal requirement for an employer to negotiate with a union unless it has been recognized. There is no legal requirement for an employer to negotiate with a union unless it has been recognized. If it is, then there are some rules of collective bargaining. The union side must consist of full-time official, workplace representative and mix of both. Secondly, the employer must negotiate your side as the individual employer or your association. Multiple union can represent individual on the union side. Lastly, the agreement has no specific time period. An employer can negotiate this. There are not too many additional restrictions. Are there any difference between collective bargain and negotiation? People often use these two terms interchangeably, but in essence they are one and the same. Collective bargain is just a negotiation between a trade union and employer, whereas negotiation can occur in other instances. Different types of collective bargain. Although this will not impact your decision making as an employer too much, it is important that an employer you are aware of different types of collective bargain that can occur. In essence, there are four main types. Conjunctive, where both parties try to gain from other laws, usually involving wages, bonuses, other employees' benefit. Second type, cooperative, where both parties try to resolve a problem of their common interest, usually involving work terms, technology solutions. Productive, where Their employer tries to increase productive through incentive bonuses. Increasing productivity has to know on effect of the increasing company's success. Last type is composite, where the employee express concern regarding the things such as working condition, policies, recruitment with the intention to safeguard employees working at the company. These are main types. There are many other types of collective bargain as well. Collective bargaining steps. Collective bargain can intense process that can be stressful, difficult for all the parties involved. It often involves a lot of back and forth with offer and counter offers, but the end goal is to reach an agreement. The process goes through a number of stages. The steps can be summed up as follows: identify the issue and preparing the demands. This may include list of grievances such as abusive management practices, low salaries. Secondly, negotiation. The union will hire a team of professional negotiators to reach an agreement with the employer. The employer also hire a negotiator, and their two teams will continue to meet until they find a satisfactory agreement. Coming to tentative agreement. Once agreement is reached, both teams of negotiators will submit their agreements to their constituents. At this time, any last minute issue will be raised as a detail or harm out, accepting and rectifying the agreement. The agreement will be submitted to union member who will have the opportunity to vote for or against the new contract. Administrating the agreement. After the agreement is finalized, worker and shop step forward will continue to monitoring to ensure that the company is abiding by the obligations. Now we come to collective bargain laws. Most industrialized countries have laws that protect the right to engage in a collective bargaining from union, although there may be restriction on certain industries. The Trade Union and Labor Relations Consolidation Act 1992, also known as TULRCA 1992, is the main law governing the collective bargain in the United Kingdom. This includes the right from the joint union, the right to discuss pay, other grievances, and the right to strike. It also prohibits an employee from being fired for a protective activity. However, certain categories of workers are specifically excluded from this. These include federal, state, local government employees, and agriculture labor. Advisory, Conciliation and Arbitration Service is the government body that regulates labor practices and collective bargaining. It is also responsible for supervising union election, ensuring that the workers are not pursued to vote one way or the other. Many other states also have the law regarding the collective bargain. Advantages and disadvantages of collective bargain. Now we look at the advantages and disadvantages of collective bargaining. Firstly, I explain the advantages. As the name implies, workers have larger voice through collective bargain. Being in the group with the same goal gives the employees more power to negotiate demand with the employers. Compromise may be able to shout out the voices of one or two employees, but can't necessarily do the same with the larger group of unfied individuals. Workplace condition under the collective bargain can see the significant improvement guarantees all the workers the same protection. This also includes the implementation of health and safety checks as well as suitable salaries, overtime pay and vacation times. Employer and employees are fully aware of the rights and responsibilities under the collective bargain agreement. Once the employment terms are negotiated, a contract is drawn up. Both parties agree to the terms, which are clearly identified. Both parties agree to the terms, which are clearly defined. Disadvantages. Now we look at the disadvantages of collective bargain. As mentioned above, collective bargain is often a long drawn process that can take weeks or even months. Employers and labor union leaders may have to go back and forth with employment terms. Union leaders are required to update employees and must put the terms to the vote. If employees vote to reject a contract, the negotiating process begins again. Collective bargain often comes at a high cost. Collective bargain often comes at a high cost. Secondly, we look at the second main disadvantage of collective bargain is collective bargain often comes at a high cost. Employers may have to take time off from the work to negotiate. This means less time on the job, therefore a drop in productivity. Lengthy negotiation can affect a company bottom line. Thirdly, the process is often considered biased because the employees are able to band together under a single union. Employers may force to negotiate and accept the unfavorable terms in order to keep their business running without much of disruption. These are the main disadvantages of collective bargaining.
So question number 1. Which section of the Trade Union and Labor Relations Act 1992 won collective bargain?
The chapter VA of this act is about collective bargain. The section 70A is about recognition of trade union, 70B is training, and 70C is about complaint to employment tribunal. Basically, these are the three sections which are about collective bargain and trade union work in UK.
Okay, so question number 2. Tell me the 5 famous cases of industrial relation and collective bargaining in UK.
The first famous case of UK is Argos versus Unite the Union. This case is in High Court. This case is about injunction to restrain industrial action. In this high-profile decision, the High Court rejected an application by high street retailer Agros to stop a planned strike. The second famous case is LIDL versus CAC and GMB. This case is in Court of Appeal. This case is about collective bargain for fragmented bargaining units. In another successful application brought by an employer, the Court of Appeal had rejected an attempt by the supermarket LIDL to prevent the GMB union being recognized for collective bargain at one of its warehouses. The third case is Dunkley and other versus KOSTL Coastal UK Limited. This case is in Employment Tribunal. This case is about bypassing recognized trade union was an unlawful inductment. The Trade Union and Labor Relation Consolidation Act make it an offence for an employer to offer employees an inductment which, if accepted, would result in them giving up any or all of their collective bargaining rights. The employer must bring a claim within 3 months of the offer or the last in the series of similar offer being made. Fourth case is Hartley HARTLY versus King Edward VI College, Supreme Court. Calculating strike pay. If a teacher takes a part in lawful strike action, how much pay is their employer entitled to deduct? In the case of Hartley versus King Edward VI College, the Supreme Court has handed down a judgment which all the employer must now consider before stopping pay when strike action occurs. It held that the sixth form college should only have deduct 1 by 365 of salary per day of strike action. As a teacher were engaged on an annual contract and performed work throughout the year, the college approach of deducting 1 by 260 of salary pay based on 5-day working was not correct. The last famous case is GNAHOUA versus Below London Limited. This case is in employment tribunal. Nominal compensation for the breach of right to be accompanied. An employment tribunal has awarded nominal compensation of €2 for the breach of £2, for the breach of an employee's right to be accompanied.
Okay, Mr. Khan, last question. What is EASI and its role in EU?
The EASI stand for Employment and Social Innovation Program is a financing instrument at EU level to promote the high level of quality, sustainable employment, guaranteeing adequate and decent social protection, combating social exclusion and poverty, improving working conditions. Thank you.